Begin with the tuition scheme that cost the local university and taxpayers millions of dollars. Good evening, everyone. I'm Yuki Washington. Jessica is off tonight. A former Delaware State University official admits to taking bribes to lower the tuition for out-of-state students. Eyewitness News reporter Shantae Lange reports on how it was all uncovered.
Federal prosecutors are calling it fraud and corruption. Crystal Martin worked at the Office of Registrar here at Delaware State University. Well, today she pled guilty for bribery after swindling the school of about $3 million. Each year, more than 4,000 students attend Delaware State University. Of them, several hundreds took part in a bribery scheme to lower their tuition with the help of this woman, Crystal Martin, who is an associate in the registrar's office.
I'm at a loss for words. What can you say about that?
Martin pled guilty to one count of federal program bribery in federal court after she was accused of accepting an upwards of $70,000 in bribes from students over a 4-year period from 2013 to 2017 in exchange for changing the addresses and registration status from out-of-state to in-state. Court documents show that with the help of a co-conspirator who is unnamed pending an investigation, Martin swindled the historically black college of $3 million.
It's crazy because there's a lot of students that actually had to pay hard work and money for this school, and you have a person that's just taking money and switching the address. It's pretty unfair.
Between Martin and the co-conspirator, they would negotiate terms with students. So instead of paying approximately $17,000 out-of-state tuition, students paid less than half, only $8,000.
That's a significant discount.
United States Attorney for the District of Delaware, David Weiss, is prosecuting the case. What message do you think this would send to other employees or other people who may think to do this or who may be doing this?
Hopefully the message is you've got to play by the rules. I mean, it's critical to our universities. It's critical that the public have confidence in our institutions. So if you don't play by the rules, there's a penalty that needs to be paid.
It's not clear if the several hundred students will have to pay the full out-of-state tuition rate. As far as Crystal Martin, she's due back in court in July for her sentencing. She could face up to 10 years in prison.
And this right here just, it makes me mad. It pisses me off. We are in the middle of one of the biggest college admission scandals going around in the nation right now. To have this story fall into your lap. This woman literally took bribes in order to get out-of-state students into Delaware State University and cut their entry in half. Like they said, those of you who've never been to college, out-of-state fees, they'll charge you more opposed to if you live in state and you go to school there. Because for me, where I'm from, and then I went to school in Columbia, South Carolina. So I had to pay out-of-state school fees for that. It's like a tax. I guess you could say it's like a tax. But she cut that down to less than half of that. So that means that the kids who are paying in-state, I don't know what the in-state fees are for Delaware State, but let's just hypothetically say they were probably paying almost the same amount. So they were probably like, this person is from Texas. Why are they paying the same amount as a person who's from Delaware? Like, something just isn't adding up. And she swindled the school out of $3 million while making some money herself on the back end. Now, what makes this so bad is two things. One, this was a black individual who, as far as we know right now, acted alone on this. And number two, Delaware State University is an HBCU, a historically black college or university. In case y'all didn't know. It's bad enough that a lot of HBCUs or HBCUs in general get a bad rap because they feel like if you go to an HBCU, it's degrading yourself, or you're a PWI is better and things of that nature. But it's not. It's actually better because the schools are tend to be more smaller. You go to PWI, you're more like a number because the campuses are so wide and so big, and you can barely see a lot of the people. But it's bad because a lot of HBCUs don't get that much funding. A lot of HBCUs are private, so they don't get the same type of funding that a PWI gets. This is going to put a stain on the school, unfortunately, even though the school had no involvement with it. But she worked there, so she was an employee with them. So what they're going to say is they knew what was going on and they allowed her to keep on doing this. But I highly, like, if you use logic, I highly doubt that's the case, because what school would want to lose money? Especially an HBCU that gets funded differently than their PWI counterparts. So now it's like they have to find a way to make all of that money back that they lost, thanks to her and her antics. I feel absolutely nothing for her. If they have to throw her in jail for 10 years, so be it. If she got to pay that $250,000 fine, so be it. Because she messed up, she messed up a lot. Like the guy said in the video, that was an unfair advantage to the people who have to pay in school, who don't have to pay that fee. And then you gave that advantage to those who have to pay out of state fees. And who, like I said, let's hypothetically say that the in school fees was $9,000. That means that the people who came from out of state, they got $1,000. They got less than $1,000 discount compared to the ones who had to pay $1,000 more. But I'm glad that they caught this woman by her swindling the school out of $3 million. That means they got her on the low end, which means she didn't really get that far with her own little personal scheme. Now, if they said she would have made like over $10 million, then that means she was on a roll. But see, if she was at a PWI, she probably would have got a whole lot more. Because like I said, HBCUs are smaller schools. But y'all let me know what you think about this down in the comments, and I'll talk to you in the next one.